I knew Kyle was going to be in one of my classes, and you were in class then.
Yeah, I emailed you.
Yeah, and we were, I don't know, maybe a week or two in, and I happened to be going to the library, and I saw Kyle at the desk, the front desk, checking a book out or something, I don't know. So I snuck up behind him, and I wiggled his stick. And he just went, scared him to death. He was mad, but then he turned around and saw who it was, and I don't know if he couldn't be mad anymore, but I would say that's when we both kind of felt comfortable with each other for the first time. So that was it, and then it just treating him like every other student, really. I mean, that's why he says I embarrassed him in class, but it wasn't that. It was, I just...
The opposite.
Talked to him.
Right.
Yeah. Gave him a bad time, because if I don't like you, I don't give you a bad time. So that's kind of how it started. There were things within the curriculum that I think we weren't ready for, because we had activity classes that were mandatory for our students to take. And there weren't really accommodations, because we hadn't had that many people with disabilities take classes in sport management before. So we just sat down and figured out how to make those happen. Whether it was Kyle playing power soccer with Blaze Sport, isn't that what you did? And then we did he organized a disability hike, if you will, up at Kennesaw Mountain, and it was a real trail hike, not some paved path. We went out on the rough terrain, so we had to have volunteers to help, one or two. Sometimes it was just me and you out there, and that was fun, lifting him in that chair up and over roots and everything. So those were some of the things that we did together before the Kyle Pease Foundation, before he graduated, just to get him through college. What else from there?
Now, Kennesaw's not, like, because I have a limited knowledge of Kennesaw,
sure.
And yet the people that I know who go to Kennesaw are disabled. Is there a large disabled population, or is it just that the 3 people who I know that go to Kennesaw are all disabled?
You may be better to answer that question.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Did they have like a lot of learning disabilities and all that stuff?
So one of the things, I'm not sure when Kyle was there, like a number. We did start about 5 years ago, so probably right after you graduated, 5 or 6 years ago, the Academy for Inclusive Learning and Social Growth. So we take people with moderate developmental disabilities, and it's a 2-year certificate program.
Love it.
So as far as physical disabilities, I wouldn't say there's a large population, but they're there.
There's not, right, but there's not a program which says if you're disabled, there's nothing that you're doing purposely outreach to bring more disabled people in. It's just...
I don't think so. Do you?
No.
I think probably now, and I don't know if there's anything official, because Kevin's mom was mentioning something about Dr. Papp's, some kind of initiative. That may be more toward the academy program and the developmental disabilities.
Got it.
So I don't know if it's... I think I may just be more aware since I've known Kyle, so I see more.
Where did you go to school? Where did you go to school?
I graduated with my PhD in 2004.
From where, though?
University of Southern Mississippi.
Okay. And undergrad was what?
Undergrad was 98, 99, Auburn University, Montgomery.
Okay. And in sports management? Okay. And so now you... what is your... There's a certain type of person who reaches out to the disabled person. Do you have disabilities in your background? What made you gravitate to him? What made you make a decision to become involved with a disability type group?
It's interesting. I don't know.
Okay.
I've coached sports since I was 15, so I don't know if that's just part of that personality that you were talking about, just helping of service.
There's no disabilities in your family? Your mother's not a...
No.
Okay.
I would say my mom, she was a teacher's aide at my high school for the special ed classes. So maybe that's part of it. But I mean, just meeting Kyle, and I guess one of the bigger things too is I saw the obstacles that he was approaching with some of the classes, and then saw how unprepared organizations were. I won't just say Kennesaw, because I think there's a lot of people just they're not prepared to have to make accommodations or figure out what's the best way to do this. Because you came to visit one time, and went over to a buddy of mine's house that I hadn't seen in forever, and my first thought was Dad had some ramps, because I knew that where we were going, Kyle wouldn't be able to get in, but we took ramps and went in. So it's kind of that I don't know, I like the challenge of figuring those kinds of things out.
And you became involved in the actual foundation when?
I think
officially Sunday, or 2 Sundays ago.
Oh, really?
I remember I called him and I'm like, hey, Britt and I are started the Racing Pig. Can we use your help? And he was like, hell yeah, I'm all about this. And well, I guess make sure that you check with your family, because it's a big time commitment. So, one thing I can say from the very get-go, that John David has been at every race. Every big race that we have done and that foundation has done, he has been at, whether that's making sacrifices to take his family somewhere, he's been at every major race.
So, but I just made the commitment, I guess, a couple weeks ago to join the board. Before I just didn't, I don't know.
You were volunteer. Well, you still volunteer.
Yes, but it was different. I could go into it and I mean, just to let you know, not necessarily put it up on the blog, but I also felt that times with the age of the board and how young the board was, if I was officially on the board, I advised Kyle and Brent on the side.
Right.
Like, it was an unofficial advisor. They would call me up with questions, and I would just go, here's what I think.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. Not going to hurt my feelings.
Right.
I felt like if I was on the board and I was saying things like that with a whole lot of other people, they may just go with that.
Right.
Just because I was a little bit older, or, you know, a lot of these people that were on the board, I knew when they were in college.
Right.
So I didn't want to influence the direction of the board, because they had their vision, and I didn't want to change that. I wanted it to be established, and it was a good, just kind of being this unofficial advisor. It was a lot of fun, just talking with Kyle and Brent at different times at the same time about how to handle situations, or how I would handle a situation, and just kind of see how it played out.
Okay, but I know you I know you as a photographer for them, and I know you as a graphic designer for them. But what type of things would you advise on? What is your role? You're not the creative end of the Kyle Pease Foundation. You're something more than that. And what is that something more?
I think I worked in the recreation world professionally before I went back to get my PhD.
Yeah.
So I ran a soccer program, a basketball program, and a swimming pool.
For able-bodied?
Yes.
Okay.
For a city.
Yeah.
So I think I brought to people management skills. I teach leadership and management of sport organizations, so some of the things were early on, the bylaws, how do you do bylaws, not so much as creating them, but what needs to be in them. So I didn't help write them or anything like that, it's just, and how do you, I don't know if necessarily how to run a meeting, but there were personalities, there were decisions that needed to be made, and just I have an ability to kind of think outside the box and put myself on both sides. And I think it's because I have to ask a lot of questions of students.
Right.
So students have a one-track mind usually when they come to class. So I got to try and get them to think about the other side. So I think organizational and kind of personnel management issues. Wouldn't you say that's what you guys would call me about a lot?
And you have your PhD. Are you a doctor?
Yes.
You are. So if I refer to you in an article, Dr. John David Johnson?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's fine.
Ryan and family. Ryan and family.
Don't forget the second Jesus.
What's that?
Johnson.
The second.
Oh, it
The
is?
second, yeah.
Okay, all right, I can do that. Oh, Katie, nice of you to wake up. Thank you. Thank you for waking up, Katie. What's up, man? Put him again?
Yes, sir.
All right, so where would you like to see the Kyle Pease Foundation? Huh?
Very good point.
Well, thank you. Where would you like to see it go? Become?
That is a good question. Kyle and I have had conversations about it being nationwide, have a national reach and even an international reach. I keep telling him we got to have small steps. We got to get Georgia first. So we're still, I think this year is going to be a really good year for the foundation. I think starting off next weekend with 17 athletes, or is it more than that?
17.
Okay, around 17 athletes, I think, next weekend, which is huge for the foundation. We've purchased more equipment, but I think the majority of those kids are still coming from the metro Atlanta area.
Yeah.
So it's one of my goals to help the foundation reach outside of metro and get into the suburbs a little bit more. So eventually we'll have that international reach, whether we're sending athletes or equipment over to other countries to show what you can do. But I think within the next 2 years, just to make sure that we're Georgia wide,
Right.
not just metro wide.
And
Is that good enough?
And
Yeah.
the goals for next weekend, what do you want to see?
I just want to see everybody have a good time and be safe. I think 17 athletes is very doable, but it's going to be a challenge. Just organizing, I guess, that many different people. Next weekend for me, I'll be playing staff photographer. So I'll be chasing Kyle and Brent around the course. There will be other freelance photographers stationed for the foundation around the course as well, taking pictures of the 5Kers and the other people that are doing the half marathon. So yeah, I don't know what else. So next weekend for me, I just hope to get 1 or 2 good pictures.
Would it make sense with 17 people for there to be sub-teams? Like, meaning it's obviously easier to coordinate 4 people than it is 17. So do you try to break it down to have a team captain of team A, B, C, D?
I think that's a great idea that we'll definitely give out to the board.
Absolutely.
And say, okay, Michael Kidd, you take these 4.
Yeah.
Greg, you take these 4. John David, Sam, you take these 4. I think that will be
We can
Thank you for that.
we can maybe just implement that next week, easy. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll
what
have
if
to talk-
somebody? What if there's 17 people and somebody gets lost? Okay, what if something happened? What do you do with the other people? If you break it down so that only X amount are affected by something, it
I think that would
reduces chaos.
that would handle part of the issues that happened last year.
Yeah.
People not showing up on time or doing that. Isn't that what I heard? Usually I'm not at the start line. Usually I'm at the Publix mile when it starts.
With Dick.
Yes.
That-
We
that-
do. We meet there,
Yeah.
and Dick's my chauffeur, and I tell him where to go. We argue about it a little bit, but we get there eventually. And
I agreed to co-park at his apartment complex.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to talk to
Yeah.
Dick then. So no, that's a good idea. And I think we could probably pull that off this year. We just have to get that idea out to whoever's organizing groups right now.
I
'cause
mean,
we
it's
have
something you
another
want to
meeting on
implement because
Tuesday.
what happens when you're 60 people at a race
Absolutely.
instead of 17?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'll add a goal just for us to be better organized.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
Well, we were talking about how I got involved, and I don't want that to be. I've been involved supporting them running and racing because it's Kyle.
Who's your friend, right?
Yeah. And I have been been to all of the big races. We did go to Gulf Shores, so we took a family vacation. So my family went down earlier, and we met these guys down there. They stayed in the. We all got a house together, so they stayed in the house with us the night before and all that good stuff. So it's more of a family thing when it can be.
Right.
So some of the smaller races I don't make because I've got all the other time, but then there's people there taking pictures. But it's just, I think it's that important for them to have support at the big races. I think I lend for Kyle calm. Is that right? Because the race days get pretty hectic. Yet there's a lot of type A personalities in triathlons.
Yeah.
And I'm not a type A personality. So I just think I add that little bit of calm for Kyle. And I think it helps too when I'm at the boat. Because I kind of help research the type of boat and that kind of thing. And for Kyle, and then we also practice several times with the boat. So
I'm not ignoring you. I
No,
just
you're
want to text Karen where we are.
you're fine. So I just think it's important for the bigger races, especially when there's going to be water involved or something like that, that Kyle can handle it, but I think it's a little different when I'm there just because, again, it's just that little bit of calm, I guess. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's what I present to him too, is calm.
You know, I said this today with the Inners family, and it's there we go, David. It's like a second dad to me.
Like a second dad. I thought you were going to go with Big Brother.
No, he
Cousin?
You know,
Yeah.
a second father figure, somebody outside my immediate family that I could just call in and I do what I need to do, and his family has opened up their arms in more ways than one to me. So they're good people.
I guess the other thing, though, is I'm empathetic but not sympathetic to Kyle.
Meaning?
I mean, he can call me up whining and crying about something, and I go, oh, I'm sorry, but we all have problems.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel where you're coming from. I know where you're at, but I don't show him a lot of sympathy.
Yeah. Tough
Because, absolutely, because a lot of times that's probably why he calls me, because he doesn't need somebody else to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, what can I do for you?"
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I haven't done that before, but most of the time it's
Nah,
you got to deal with it.
Yeah, I don't think you ever say you're sorry.
No, I probably haven't.
I think, sometimes we agree to disagree. So.
And we're not mad at each other about it.
Right. Right.
Right. Just feel like another extended part of the family when I'm with the family.
Right. Cool.
You got enough?
I got enough.
Is that enough?
Yeah.
Any other anecdotal stories you want to tell?
Ash, you got any energy left?
Todd, I was thinking back on our conversation, and you asked a question of why I got involved, I guess, with the foundation. The biggest reason, I think, was just seeing Kyle's drive.